Someone help!
These are human lives! That says wrong! They have families, children! They're our friends and we're watching them!
Not subscribe.
Kaizoku.
This video is brought to you by Adakai TCG. Shop the latest in premium holographic textured custom One Piece cards. Designed for collectors, crafted to stand out. Use code Kaizoku for 15% off your next order. This video is sponsored by Gumgum.gg. See Western OP11 list and Eastern OP12 list on Gumgum.gg. Updated daily. Be the first to see decks for new leaders as they emerge. With over 1000 deck lists per set, Gumgum.gg has all the top strategies as soon as they drop. This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. So in Japan, they announced that they're going to announce a new ban list for the One Piece card game in August 2025. This would be when Japan is on the PRB02 meta, right? Well, we would have just gotten OP12, so it's probably going to be based on Japan's meta, and then we're just going to get the bans later on. So far, we seem to mirror them in bans. We just get it a couple months later. Now, first and foremost, I don't think they're going to unban anything. It was fun to like kind of theorize on what they would unban in the past, but I think up until now, their track record has not been to unban anything. Right, the only times that they kind of did unban something is when they temporarily banned a card, like when the Searcher Nami was banned just for like a couple weeks, but then she came back into meta. They've never outright just made a card legal again, so I think there's no precedent there to assume that they're going to do that this time. And honestly, it would be a bad luck on them if they unban a card and it becomes a problem again, and then everyone's going to complain even more. I do think Red Purple Law cannot be unbanned just yet. I think it's still like a very, very strong deck. So we won't go down that path of thinking about unbans, but of the current problem cards in the current meta, I'm looking into OP12 too because I played quite a bit of OP12 now. Here are all the problem cards that I've identified in the meta. It's mainly two leaders or two packages really. It's the Blue Purple Luffy package and then the Slash package in green. And the top two leaders in the OP12 format are Blue Purple Luffy and Green Zoro. So we're going to focus mainly on those cards, but there's some other niche cards that I want to talk over as well. So we just go in order of the cards I have in the problem cards tier here. We're going to move it up into these categories after that. Oh, I'll explain the categories. So we're going to have likely ban. All right, they're not going to make an announcement and not ban anything. So we're just going to kind of theorize what they might ban, what is most likely that they're going to hit come August. And then there's a small chance to ban. These are cards that I think could warrant a ban, but we're not like super 100% confident and we don't want to like go all in on it. But if they ban it in the end, we're going to be sure to gloat and say like, yeah, I told you guys, it's gonna get banned. There's the no ban tier. Those are cards that I think while they are maybe still a problem or like maybe overtuned, I don't think they're worth a ban just yet, right? A simple power creep in the meta will probably put those cards in line in power. And lastly, we have the wild card tier. So yeah, historically, they've always added a card that none of us asked to be banned into the ban list. They've done this with Kingdom Come. They did this in the past with the Annie's Lobby stage, right? I think while it was really strong in Lucci, nobody was calling for it to be banned. They were mainly focused on getting Ice Age and Great Eruption banned, which they did in the end. So we're just going to have to theorize what they might include that none of us asked for this time as well, because I'm pretty sure they're going to do that again, right? They have a track history of doing that every time. And I'm using my website to make this tier list here. You guys can make your own if you'd like. There's a button to save a screenshot now if you'd like to do that. Okay, so first off, the first card is Blue Purple Luffy, the leader itself. Do I think the leader is worth banning? So the leader, the problem with it at the moment is that, so the strength of the deck is that it's a 6k base leader, right? So you're aggressive and a little defensive in that regard. And then once you're at 8 Dawn on the start of your Dawn phase, you get to draw an additional card for the turn. It's a targeted card. So it's a playstyle where you have a really weak early game. You're just trying to not die because you're a 3 life leader. And then once you get to your late game, it'll take a couple turns into your late game to draw extra cards to make up that difference. And then from that point on, you outscale your opponent, right? The problem with that at the moment is that there is, it's too safe to do that, right? That vulnerability window, only really Bello Betty has been able to exploit it. No other deck has been fast enough. And because of that, like cards like Gum Gum Giant, 9-cost Big Mom being able to heal and defend for big amounts, and like 8-cost Katakuri being a blocker, these strong defensive cards kind of nullify the downsides of Blue Purple Luffy's leader card itself. Now on its own, do I think this card is a problem? I guess in the future you could argue that they cannot print really strong blue or purple defensive cards, or else Luffy would utilize it really well. But to me personally, I do think they just need to print more ways to counter this playstyle, right? Either more aggressive decks like Bello Betty, or either ways to de-ramp your opponent, right? We have cards like Magellan from the past. It was a card that made your opponent lose a Dawn. They've kind of since then not printed any effects like this. I think cards like this is what they need to kind of go towards to counter Blue Purple Luffy. But it seems like they're not wanting to go that direction. So yeah, I would say that he does kind of limit the space for defensive blue and purple cards in the future. Now, is it enough for him to be banned? I think at the moment, I want to say no. I kind of want to caution away from banning leaders outright, right? I kind of disagreed with them banning Red Purple Law and Sakazuki just because I would rather answers be printed in the meta to counter them instead of just outright removing a leader, because I think that's not fun. People who invested into these leaders just not being able to play them anymore, it's kind of a bad feeling, right? Bad taste in your mouth, especially with this guy being like one of the most played leaders in both OP11 and OP12. So yeah, I think banning the leader is the easy way out. I don't want that to happen, so I'm gonna have to put him in the no ban category here. Just because if they do manage to fix the meta and find a solution, it would be way more interesting than outright just getting rid of him and not having to worry about him. Because once you get rid of him, like a new power vacuum will form. The next best color is going to be green, and green's going to dominate the meta. So it's just kicking the can down the road. I'd rather them keep him in the meta, make him still strong, but then like balance the rest of the decks out. And one way they could do that is to ban currently really strong cards that help Blue Purple Luffy. So we'll go over the one of the biggest culprits at the moment, Gum Gum Giant. So it's a 1 Dawn counter event that's only usable in Straw Hat Crew type decks. That is a pretty steep restriction, except for the fact that there's so many good purple Straw Hat leaders for some reason in the meta. So what it does is if you Dawn -2, you trash a card in your hand, you can counter for 4k for 1 Dawn. You can also draw 2 cards after that. So it's like you're cycling cards and countering for 4k. Dawn -2 when you're at 10 Dawn is no cost at all because you just go back up to 10 the next turn. So it's this card that is able to keep Blue Purple Luffy healthy, right? You're counting for 4k, you're getting rid of dead cards in your hand. And it's a ramp deck anyway, so you get to 10 really quickly. It's a Straw Hat card too, so you can kind of search it with Blue Purple Luffy. Not only that, it's used in a bunch of other purple Straw Hat decks, right? Namely like Green Purple Luffy, right? It's a top meta deck that uses the card. Purple Black Luffy also uses it, not as meta though. And then Purple Luffy runs it as well. So pretty much if you're a Straw Hat purple leader, you run this card. This being the card that is best used in the Blue Purple Luffy deck just because you can always be able to search it via your leader ability. So yeah, I understand the argument for wanting it to be banned. It is a lot of stats and a lot of value for just 1 Dawn. And despite it being leader locked to Straw Hat Crew type leaders, that means that they can never print another purple Straw Hat leader in the future that might be too good just because it'll be able to use Gum Gum Giant, right? I think Blue Purple Sanji also uses this card. And then what, Yellow Purple Robin. But there goes my argument against it as well. Against banning it, I mean. Because if it's such a broken card, shouldn't Purple Black Luffy and Purple Luffy and Blue Purple Sanji and Yellow Purple Robin be top meta decks as well? But they're not. Purple Luffy has fallen like off the face of the earth. Purple Black Luffy's struggling to remain meta relevant at the moment. It's only really Green Purple Luffy and Blue Purple Luffy who utilize it the most and are still top meta decks. So that would be the argument against banning it, right? If it was such a broken card, why isn't the meta like every single purple Straw Hat leader that we currently have? But it's not. So that does kind of highlight the fact that you need a strong purple Straw Hat leader in and of itself in the first place. This just brings them over the top, right? So that means Blue Purple Luffy and Green Purple Luffy would be fine without Gum Gum Giant. But that also leads me to kind of lean towards banning it, right? If this card makes those 2 decks overtuned and it doesn't make the other purple Straw Hat decks overpowered, then yeah, just get rid of this card. It fixes the meta for a bit until they print a new problematic purple card. So because of that, I do think likely ban is the scenario for this card. I think getting rid of it would make the meta a lot healthier at the moment. And then it's not like they don't have alternatives, right? Blue Purple Luffy already runs cards like Gear Second, Thunder Bagua, so it just loses Gum Gum Giant. It can run like Blast Breath or something instead. And then Green Purple Luffy is already starting to run cards like Dead Man's Game, which can counter for 3k too. So yeah, I'm in favor of banning this card. I think it would really, really fix a current pain point, right? It would make this deck a lot more vulnerable, give it that weakness that people are looking for to exploit. He has pros and cons now. Okay, the next card up here is Charlotte Linlin from OP08. It's a 9 cost 9k power character. So on play, if you Dawn -1, you charge a card from your hand, you can heal the top card of your deck to your life, and then you can put one of your opponent's 6 cost or lower characters on the top or bottom of your opponent's life. So yeah, another card that just does kind of a bit too much, right? Not only does it heal, not only is it a big body, but it also like is kind of removal. 6 cost is nothing to scoff at too. This hits like Cavendish, this hits your opponent's all like the 5 cost blockers that are commonly run. So yeah, it can really slow down the game, which is problematic in Blue Purple Luffy. Again, just because the slower you make the game, the more that your leader ability helps you outscale in the late game. So this is another card that is a problem because of Blue Purple Luffy. And at the moment of all the purple decks, I do believe it's only blue purple Luffy who runs it at the moment, right? Green purple cannot run it. Purple black does not run it. Purple Luffy doesn't even run it anymore. It used to be a staple in this deck. So it's really only Big Mom Pirates leaders plus this blue purple Luffy. And I do think blue purple Luffy uses it the best out of everybody, right? So this mitigates his weakness, again, being a 3-life leader and then being susceptible to early aggro. Big Mom heals you and gets rid of a target that can attack you. Now, this card isn't as ubiquitous as Gungam Giant as we saw, right? Blue Purple Luffy being the only meta deck that runs it. So I don't think we need to ban it because this is a very specific targeted ban to Blue Purple Luffy. I think small ban chance. I don't want to say they're not going to ban it at all, just because I could see them like wanting to alleviate the current problem in the meta, the current boogeyman. If you get rid of Linlin and Gungam Giant, Blue Purple Luffy might actually not be that great anymore, actually, now that I think about it. It's these two cards that make him like stable enough to scale in the late game and keep drawing resources, right? Up next is OP06 Sanji. So this is another problem card in Blue Purple Luffy. Of the top meta decks, I think Blue Purple Luffy is the only deck that runs it, right? They run it as a 4 of. The only other decks that can run this card would be like a Red Blue Marco, the starter deck 22, Whitebeard and Ace, and then I think Nami, Blue Yellow Nami can run it. Probably Queen too, Blue Yellow Queen. But none of those decks are anywhere near top meta, so again, only a problem card in this particular deck. So not only is the defense too much via Gungam Giant and Charlotte Linlin with the Blue Purple Luffy deck, it's the fact that you're able to play out Sanji and the Linlin, because that's what he can do. On play, you can reveal the top card of your deck and then play out whatever is on top that's a 9 cost or less. And it's especially broken in Blue Purple Luffy just because with our leader ability, we can rearrange the top remaining 4 cards of our deck after drawing a card with his leader ability. So you're always guaranteed to cheat out a target that you want with the Sanji. In fact, you can even pick up the Sanji via the Straw Hat portion and then rearrange your top cards and guarantee this Linlin out. So not only can you heal, but you have an offensive threat with Sanji and Linlin the turns after. So that kind of makes it a little too much value, right? You're getting your cake and you're eating it too. But I wouldn't say Sanji is the problem. I think the problem is that Linlin is a target for Sanji, which is why it's a problem. Like, if you're able to play Sanji into another big body and then you're still like a 3-life leader, yeah, you're still vulnerable to dying even if you have a bunch of big characters. So because of that, I don't think it's worth banning. I'm gonna put it in the no ban tier, right? It's the fact that you can play big body out and heal, 2 big bodies out and heal. If this played out like a Rush Snake Man Luffy, yeah, it's fairly aggressive, but you're still susceptible to like dying on the clapback. So I think that is fine. That seems balanced to me. So yeah, Sanji no ban. Up next is 8 cost Katakuri, also for the Blue Purple Luffy deck. So what he does is he's an 8 cost AK blocker, and then at the end of your turn, you can set up to 2 of your Big Mom Pirates type characters with the cost of 3 or more is active. Then you can ramp a Rested Dawn. So this kind of falls into the same category as Linlin and Gungam Giant. It's a blocker you can play on 8, which is the kind of the Dawn threshold you want to get to ASAP, just so that you can draw an extra card on your next turn. Katakuri being an AK blocker means that like it's even higher than your 6k stat line, so you're able to defend just via like a simple block. And the fact that he can untap himself at the end of the turn means that you're always able to attack with them, so he's an aggressive and defensive card. Now in terms of the decks that he's running, he's not running Green Purple Luffy. He is currently not running Purple Black Luffy, but you can technically run him. It's not a bad choice at all. And he's 4 of in Purple Luffy. So yeah, he has some play in other purple decks. It's a very good generic purple card, able to be running like pretty much any purple deck can run it if it ramps. So because of that, I would say I'm leaning towards no ban, but I can see a world where they do ban it. No, but I think the other purple decks kind of need it. And it doesn't make Blue Purple Luffy like super broken. I think it's Linlin and Gungam Giant that makes the deck broken. Right, if you Sanji into a Katakuri, yeah, that's bad, but I feel like just outright healing or plus 4k and drawing 2 cards is a lot stronger. We'll put it in the no ban category, just because it is a really strong card, but I think like if you've seen in OP13, like Roger is a 7k base, and then Bonnie has this 9 cost Bonnie card that makes you take a life and has Rush. So I think the meta is just kind of power creep where Katakuri just seems like an average card. I think that's what's coming with these new leaders here. So that's it for the Blue Purple Luffy cards. Now we're moving on to the next problem color in the set. It's green with mainly Green Zoro. Green Zoro is the next most played and most topping leader. And the cards in green that are a problem that I want to talk about are Hodi Jones, so 7 cost AK power. He has Rush, and then he's able to rest 2 of your opponent's active Dawn or characters, and then you take a card from your life to your hand. So yeah, just outright being able to rest 2 things no matter what cost, that is a insanely strong effect. This has been a green staple since it released. Every green deck ran it. It's just now that the rest of green is able to support it so that it's elevated green to new heights. It's a great finisher. It's a great trading tool, being able to rest targets that you want to trade into, and it has Rush 2, and you can play it at 0 life, right? The taking a life to your hand is not a requirement for any of these effects. In fact, I think if that was a requirement, it might have balanced this card out. But because it's not, yeah, I do think Hodi does have a high chance to be banned just because it does kind of negate some core like mechanics of the game, right? You're leaving Dawn up to counter for counter events. If he just outright negates that while also being able to attack on the turn that you play him, that seems a little too much. Same with blockers. If you're playing blockers, you're expecting to either tank a hit or they have to invest Dawn to like get rid of it. But they're investing 7 Dawn to get rid of that, or 2 of them potentially, and still able to attack you with everything else they have on board. I think this card could have been fixed if it was cost locked to certain costs. And again, also the requirement to get the effects is to actually have to take a life, but it's not. So yeah, I do think Hodi is pretty likely to be banned. Oh well, but the thing is, I think some Zoro lists don't even run him anymore. Yeah, like this is the most played Zoro list in the last week. No one ran Hodi in the last week, or at least in the most played deck list. What about in the other green decks? So Bonnie does run 4 of it. Smoker also runs 4 of it. So not in Zoro, but every other green leader seems to run it. So yeah, I think, likely ban or small chance. It's in one of these 2 categories. I'll leave it in likely ban for now. Okay, up next is OP12 Drokul Mihawk. 8 cost, 8k power. He's a blocker, and then on play, you can set up to 4 your rested on is active, and then you cannot play another character with the cost of 7 or more during this turn. So essentially a 4 cost 8k blocker. We've seen every green deck now adopt this card into their late game package, right? Zoro runs it, Bonnie runs it as a 4 of, Smoker runs it as a 4 of. It's just too strong of a card. Again, it's a 4 cost 8k blocker, not just a vanilla, it's a blocker. Now, do I think they're gonna ban it? I would say small chance. I'm kind of leaning towards no ban, to be honest, but the fact that every green deck is running it means that like it's kind of homogenizing all green decks. No green deck is unique just because this card provides that much value, right? It's not leader locked, any leader can run it. Blockers are good, AK blockers are especially good. So I could see a small chance. If I could split small chance and small chance, I'd put Mihawk in small chance, but I only have these tiers to work with. Up next is Cavendish. So Cavendish is a 5 cost 6k character with counter, 1k counter, and on play when attacking, if your leader has a Supernova's type and you have no other Cavendish characters on board, you can set up to 2 of your Dawn as active. So this is only a problem in Supernova decks, right? It's type locked, so at least it has that going for it in terms of balance. The best decks that run it are Zoro and Bonnie, the 2 Supernova leaders here. Smoker unfortunately cannot run this card, so it's not in a Smoker deck. Now, is it ban worthy though? So yeah, this provides you with 2 extra Dawn for the turn. This combined with a bunch of Zoro cards means that you get a bunch of Dawn for your leader, right? Tashigi gets 3 Dawn to your leader, Kuina gets 3 Dawn to your leader. Cavendish giving you 2 more Dawn means that you're able to swing double with the really big stat line with your leader. In a Bonnie deck, it helps you set up your 8 cost Fortress on the turn that you play it, but Bonnie decks have been shying away from the 8 cost Kid version of the deck in favor of Mihawk. So it's just 2 extra Dawn. You always have Dawn up for your leader ability and 1 Dawn to like swing with. Now, is it ban worthy? So the thing is, it's a 5-drop. It's a really easy stat line to kill. It doesn't come with its own evasion. You kind of have to set it up with like a Koshiro to protect it, or a Tashigi, right? So that does affect how your opponent plays their opening turns if they're worried about their Cavendish. And they don't always have those opening cards in their hand to protect their Cavendish. But it is searchable in both decks, right? It's double searchable by Hiyori and Perona, so it's really easy to find. In Bonnie, it's searchable by the tap searcher Bonnie, which is the only searcher here. I'm gonna go with low ban. I mean no ban. Why'd I say low ban? Because yeah, just the fact that it's a 5-drop, like Zeus kills it. It can get 3000 worlds. It can get Mole Pistoled really easily too. So I think because of that, yeah, I don't think it's too big of a problem. Up next is OP12, Dead Man's Game. I'm not gonna say out the entire event name, it's really long. So it's a 1 Dawn event that has 2 effects, it's really versatile. So on main, if you rest 3 more Dawn, so 4 total, it has a Hodi effect. You can rest 2 of your opponent's Dawn or characters. Then on counter, it counters for 3k. So just for card efficiency, the fact that it's able to be used as a main and as a counter is really strong. The 4 Dawn it costs to rest 2 things is really efficient, just because like Straw Sword costs 2 Dawn to rest any cost. So you're getting double Straw Sword in 1 card. You're saving card space in your deck. That's really efficient. Now, is it a problem though? So I think the problem with Hodi is just the fact that you have a body that swings afterwards. I think Dead Man's Game costing 4 Dawn, it's 3 Dawn less than the Hodi and doesn't come with an AK rush attacker. So I think it's a lot more balanced in that regard, right? You have 6 Dawn left for the turn to do what you need to do. So because of that, I don't think it deserves to be banned. I think it is a very strong green event, no doubt about it, but I don't think it's overpowered. right? Even though you're able to rest 2 things, you're still needing either your leader or other characters on board to do the dirty work after that. If you have an empty board, Dead Man's Game is not going to bring you back from the game. Meanwhile, Hodi, all in one, can get rid of their defense and can win the game for you. So I think that's why Hodi's a problem, and I don't think Dead Man's Game is as much of a problem. And then if you take a look at the decks that do run it, yeah, Bonnie does not run it. Smoker runs 1 copy. Zoro runs 2 copies only. And then I think Green Purple Luffy run it too. Yeah, 2 copies only. So it's not even a 4 of. So yeah, I think it doesn't deserve to be banned at all. So now that we moved past the 2 top mana decks, we'll take a look at some niche cards that I want to bring up. So I think Mole Pistol has been one of the best red events. If you take a look at every red deck, I'm sure they all run the card. Yeah, if you take a look at Rayleigh, who is a top mana deck, he runs 2 Mole Pistols. Smoker runs 3. Zoro runs 3. So yeah, it's a staple in a bunch of red decks. And I think that's just because of the current meta where 7k is at a sweet spot. Like every good target you need to get rid of is killable at 7k stat line. Because it gives minus 5k to a character and then it kills a 2k afterwards. If you have a character with 6k power or more on board. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be banned. And so I think it's too necessary of a card in the current meta for red to have. If red lost this, I think it would be a really big hit to red that didn't need to happen. There's also OP10 Sanji. So it's a 3 cost, 3k power. But on your turn, it's a 3 cost, 6k power. Now in KO, it draws you a card. So yeah, even if it dies, you just replace itself. Now 3 cost, 6k is a really strong stat line to have. In a Rayleigh deck, it becomes like a 8k swing. Because it really can give +2 Dawn to it. And the fact that in a Rayleigh deck, you can cheat it out with this Luffy. So you're able to attack with like a bunch of stats, right? Attach 2 Dawn, this Luffy becomes a 6. This Sanji becomes a 6 on its own. Your leader ability makes one of them an 8. So it's really strong in a Rayleigh deck. It's also run in a Smoker deck just because on your opponent's turn, it becomes a 4k because of your leader ability. So it's a little harder to attack into, but still not too hard to attack into. But it's the fact that if you put a Dawn on the Sanji, it becomes a 7k. And then you can use your leader ability to give you 2 Dawn back. Right, you get a 1 Dawn discount kind of. And then in Zoro, currently not run, but would make sense to run in a Zoro deck too, just because if you have Dawn on your leader, Sanji becomes a 7k. But would that make it a problematic card? It is very efficient for what it does. It's a really strong aggressive card. It's just that there aren't any strong aggressive decks in the meta besides Rayleigh that can utilize it too well. Right, just because Rayleigh can cheat it out with the other Luffy card. So this is probably a no ban too, for now. I could see it being a problem at some point in the future. If there were like cards that can cheat out other Straw Hats at 3 cost, that is usable outside of Rayleigh. But for now, it's just a really strong card in Rayleigh. Now moving on to Buggy. Buggy is a 7 cost 8k power character. This character cannot attack, but if your leader is Buggy, all characters with a cost of 3 or 4 cannot attack. Now in play, you can play out a 6 cost cross skill type character from your hand. Now I'm a little conflicted on this card. It is leader locked, so only Buggy can run it. But Buggy is quite a strong deck at the moment. I just don't like the fact that it can just outright stop 4 and 3 drops from doing anything. And the fact that in a Buggy deck, combined with this Mihawk, the 8 cost Crocodile Mihawk, which lets you be able to discard a card in your hand to protect it from being KO'd once. That makes it a very, very like sticky card. So not only is it like outright stopping a lot of decks that rely on 3 and 4 drops from playing, they're able to protect it really well with that 8 cost Mihawk and Crocodile. So it's like you can't even answer it. You just kind of have to sit there and then like die. So I don't like that. I think that's unfun. And that's kind of the argument for banning Red Purple Law, right? Because of Red Purple Law, if they print any strong red or purple 4 drops in the future, it would just be trouble busted in his deck. This is kind of the opposite. If they print any good 3 or 4 drops in the future, if you're Buggy, you outright just counter the deck. They can't exist. They can't be too prevalent in the meta just because your deck outright shuts them down. I think that's problematic actually, right? I don't think you should have an auto lose matchup to one specific deck because of one specific card. And I don't think Crocodile and Mihawk needs to be banned, right? Buggy kind of needs that card for the rest of his strategy. I think it's the fact that he can protect this card, which makes this card too good. And it's the fact that he can cheat out another character too. So that plays into your game plan. 6 drop means that you can play that blocker Mihawk too. So it's essentially like you're playing one body that you would play anyway, but on top of that you get this stat stick on board that can't attack, but it can deny your opponent from attacking back into you with their 3 and 4 drops. So I want to put it as a small chance to be banned, or maybe even wild card. We'll put it in wild card. I don't think anyone wants this card to be banned, but I think it's a problem in the meta, right? Once Buggy does become like the top deck, I think people are going to complain a lot more. It's just that at the moment, Blue Purple Luffy and Zoro are taking that spotlight, taking the heat away from them. If those decks get hit, I do think Buggy is going to be like the next thing to complain about. Just because like decks like Bello Betty, Zoro, Rayleigh, even Red Green Chopper, a lot of decks that like to play low to the ground, they can't play their deck at all, right? And I just really don't like these kind of cards in the game. Or if these cards do exist, I at least want some counterplay to them. But it's just that freaking Crocodile Mihawk makes this card impossible to counter. There is no counterplay against this card. And then lastly, we have Pudding OP06 Pudding here. So what Pudding does is 4 cost 4k power. It's a character. So on play, your opponent shuffles their entire hand back into their deck and draws a new hand of 5 cards. I think currently a lot of decks do go pretty big in hand size, and whenever you're playing against like a Kuzan or a blue-yellow Nami, you just kind of have to change your game plan. I think even Blue-Purple Luffy runs it as a 1-up sometimes. So yeah, the fact that it exists at all means that anytime you're facing a blue leader, you have to play differently. Is that worthy of a ban though? I want to say at the moment still no ban. Right, it's a really strong card, but yeah, you're just having to counter a lot earlier on. And then for the price of doing that, I mean, you're still healthy, right? You're not losing anything. You're just using counter that you would have used later on, but earlier on. And then they developed a 4 cost 4k power character. They're going to need to commit Dawn to attack with it. So I do think it's balanced in that regard. But I do think in the right package, like in the perfect blue deck, Pudding can become a problem. It's just that that deck doesn't exist yet, right? Because Blue Purple Luffy doesn't overly depend on Pudding. It's just like a nice to have. But once there's a blue deck that like always bounces everything back to your opponent's hand, so they always have like a huge hand that you always guarantee the Pudding out, then yeah, Pudding would be a problem. But at the moment, I don't think it's worth a ban. So I guess that is my ban tier list, ban prediction tier list for August 2025. Yeah, I would be surprised if they don't ban Gum Giant, and I think Hodi Jones has a pretty good shot at being banned. 9 cost Big Mom probably could be banned, but I also think like Purple Yellow Pudding needs this card too, for the same reasons that Blue Purple Luffy needs it. And then Mihawk, it's just too generic of a card, too good of a card. But again, if there was a tier in the small ban chance, this would be one tier below Charlotte and Linlin here. And then I don't think any of these cards are going to get banned, and then we'll leave this Shoe Buggy as a wild card. Because I do still think it's a problem, but I think Buggy just isn't a menace in the meta where it is a problem for everybody. But I think this is just like a ticking time bomb, kind of. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this list. I know like these kind of ban list prediction videos always are controversial. They have the most amount of like dissent among the comments. So yeah, I'm here for it. Let me hear it in the comments below. Let's discuss with each other. And if you have anything that I should have included in the video, you can let me know in the comments below too. Right, would love to know if there was a card I missed that's actually like really broken. And I guess that's it for this video. So I'll catch you guys next time. Oh, I guess we'll revisit it once the actual ban list comes out. We'll talk about if we were spot on or completely off. I think in the past predictions I've been completely off, so maybe this will be that time. I feel pretty confident in this one, right? I think it's a no-brainer. Everybody kind of wants these 2 cards banned, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll all be wrong. Together at least. Okay, bye.
Card D Kaizoku.